Hello everyone, and welcome back to the next Let's Play for Onlink. As I mentioned in the previous video's description, last three anyway, that I would be doing a combination video of combining the last three videos into one, into a much shorter segment in comparison to the other three. So this is what that video is going to be about. If you've already seen that video's set, then, well, this might be helpful anyway, because it's a lot more concise, and you will see all the steps involved in what I did. However, I will say, if you do want to skip most of this and get to my solution, well, you can skip near the end, because, well, I could have done that from the very beginning, to be honest. I actually considered that in the first place, but I didn't think that would be quite right if I just skipped directly to that. So, you could either watch me fail, or you could watch to the end portion. The end portion is going to have some audio over the game from a radio show, and I apologize for that, but I was quite bored after spending about 6 to 8 hours trying to figure out how to get past this section, to say the least. I recorded this months ago, so the audio from the radio show is quite old, but nonetheless, it's interesting. If you want to hear more of the audio show, it's called The John Batchelor Show. It actually comes on at, what is it, 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time on WABC Radio. So if you guys want to hear more of it, go check it out there. It's a really good show. I enjoy it. Usually the best day to listen is on Sunday nights. That's usually when he does the full show with the most information. Friday nights usually aren't that good. But anyway, enough of that. I apologize, but I just felt like it was a good idea to get that from the very beginning. So, basically, right now, we're actually trying to get into the access control system. And the access control system is kind of like how in some Windows systems, at least on the college campuses, for instance, there is a setting in the registry or some other setting somewhere else that enables it to only open certain specific programs. That's generally what this access control system is. Whatever you copy into the access control system is what is going to be able to be run on the systems related to it. So, for instance, if you were able to take this system out entirely, I can't remember, but either you can disable it that way by denying it, which I'm not entirely sure if that's accurate. I think if you actually deny it, it might end up being that it won't allow you to run any programs at all. I'm not 100% certain on that. It's been months since I've actually tried doing that, and you have to remember, I recorded this about 6 to 8 months ago, so you'll have to forgive me if I don't have a very good memory on everything. But basically, that's what it is. Also here, if you notice what I'm typing in for the right for the login, you can't use the admin password on this one. It does not have a standard login name, which is why I logged in with right instead of admin, like you're usually supposed to do. So that's mainly what happened there. So here we got the access control system. As you see, I deleted everything that was already on there previously. So right now I'm trying to figure out what I want exactly in what area. Now, I'm not sure if it's a glitch or whether it's intentional, but in the access control system, when you add files onto the server, if you go back on the server later, you'll notice that many of the things that you've added, at least in this version specifically, it'll delete portions of what you've added to the server randomly. I don't know if it's randomly or whether it is not random and it's specific. It's kind of confusing because I really can't tell one way or another. But by trial and error, you can figure out what exactly goes where. So you end up having to go back into the server about 6 to 8 different times in order to get the access control server to cooperate with you, because what's going to happen is it'll delete the program that you actually need, and then you have to go back, and then finally, after about 6 to 8 times, it'll get it to the point that you got the right program set. It's like specific areas of the memory will be deleted, only the specific areas in that area that'll get deleted. I don't know how any other way to say it without actually showing you, but that's basically what happens. So now that we've actually gotten that, we can actually run the programs on the gateway. Before, if I had connected to this, it would not allow for me to do that. As you see, there we go. There's one thing that got deleted from the server that I did have on the server. Well, since it's just the firewall, I'm for the most part just going to ignore that, and I'm going to continue on. So let's hack this MD2, and once we hack this MD2, I'll go to the next page and inject into the login and access that. As usual, we got to put the voice print in and the regular other stuff. But basically, the access control system in Onlink, at least for me, it's the bane of my existence. I don't know how else to say that. I absolutely hate this access control system. It's absolutely insane. I don't know whether it's because it glitches or just because that's how it was made, but I think it's on purpose, probably. Either way, it's a good security system, and it certainly keeps you thinking. That's one good thing about the system. If it wasn't there, Onlink honestly would be a lot easier, so I really do give them kudos for making a system that's quite difficult to actually get past, all in all. Alright, we got nothing in the access file, so let's head on to the admin section, which has got the VSEC. I really don't like VSEC either. Alright, well, this will be easy enough. So let's start with that square here, and we'll continue on in just a minute. Yes, basically the VSEC is just another version of Lights Out, just slightly modified. Version 2 is considerably harder, which we will showcase in just about, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes maybe. There's different rules to each of the VSECs. I think there's a version 3 and there might be a version 4. But the version 4 or 3, I can't remember which it is. It's really difficult. We won't run into that one, thankfully. At least not yet. Aha! Undeleter. Oh boy. Well, shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to at least get to where we need to anyway. It won't be a big deal. So, let's go in the console and do our normal spiel of cd log, then delete. So, if I might get onto a different subject entirely away from Onlink for a little bit, if you guys will permit me. Well, you don't really have much choice, but I think that we need to actually cover this subject a little bit. It's honestly something that kind of bugs me. Onlink in general and hacking in general, the morality subject of this. Is it actually moral to be actually hacking into these systems? Well, I mean, from the game perspective, I don't really care. It doesn't matter. But in reality, hacking's a crime, generally, unless you're being paid to do it from a specific company for testing purposes. So, honestly, I really don't recommend doing any of this. I've actually had myself personally had some of my servers hacked, and the one nice thing is the guy was at least I don't know, you might call him a white hat or a gray hat. He was kind enough to at least tell me that there was a problem by leaving a file on my server telling me that he hacked in as sort of a trophy. I don't mind that. That's a decent kind of hacking. At least they told you and that there was a problem so you could actually fill it up. Now, the bad type of hacking is hacking there just to get gain, and there's something wrong there. I mean, you just don't do that. But for the most part, I don't really have a problem with hacking, because you're hacking to learn. That's the whole point of it. To learn, to gain experience, to understand, to get knowledge. That is the point of it. Now, as I said, hacking for gain, that's not right. But hacking to learn something, there's a point to it. But I'd only recommend hacking into something that you specifically own or have permission for, again, as I said. Anyway, that's my little spiel. I just had to say that. This keeps coming up in my mind every time I play this Onlink game, because what you're doing is completely illegal in reality. You wouldn't do this. And it'd be a lot harder and completely different. I mean, you could use a MySQL exploit in these days, or something else like that. And yes, I'm not a hacker, so don't even go there. I don't know that much on the subject. I've only dealt with intrusions. So, anyway, if you guys are interested in some of the sites that I admin adminmech2.org, livingtorrents.com, and a few other sites, which I won't mention for right now. But basically, the point is, don't hack unless you own it, please. Alright, enough of that. We now are into the Gamma networks, which is our second step, pretty much. So we're going to hack in and hit the read password and inject into the login again, once again. As you can see, I had already previously hacked into this, so it was relatively easy, and so we'll skip a lot of that. Now we just got to get past this VSEC 2.0. Now, if I remember correctly, the rules for VSEC 2.0 are that you must hit only the blue squares. You cannot hit any of the gray squares. If you do, I think it either does nothing or it'll lock you up. One of the two. I cannot remember which exactly the rule is. Version 3 has a combination of something else, and I do not know the rules for V3, so don't even ask me. If you guys know the rules for V3, post them up on the comments. I'd actually be curious about that. Or you probably could, for V2, if you have trouble with V2 or V1 of VSEC, you can use some lights out type solvers. Some of them will actually work with V2 and V1. You just have to look really, really hard. I am not giving out the address for that, so if you want to figure that out, you can do some Googling on your own. Because that takes away half the challenge of the lights out. And I don't think the Onlink admins would appreciate me linking to that, so I won't do that. So, okay, we're back here. We gotta go past the proxy bypasses and monitor bypasses and all that. We have a monitor V6. Unfortunately, that we can't hack with the bypassers. Alright, well, we finally are about to get it, and we got our route 132.175.62.62, I think, if I'm reading it correctly. That is the one that we're going to have to head to next, which is another mainframe, unfortunately. To say the least, these mainframes are getting a bit annoying. I would like to run into an internal machine by now. I mean, seriously, 3 in a row? Well, that's how it goes. This is why I absolutely suggest to avoid any and all Trace the Hacker missions because of this specific problem. Let alone the fact that it'll mess up your Neuromancer rating. So, choose to see which way you want to go. Alright, we're connecting to 98. Alright. So the internal services machine, the reason why we're hacking in here, I honestly cannot tell you except for one thing. We need to get the links to the alpha, to the other systems on the system. Man, I'm tongue-tied. I'm sorry. Alright. We're trying to get all of the links, basically. Alright. Other than that, we're connecting, disabling all the security as usual. And, well, deleting a couple of our trace logs. Otherwise, I think we're generally done here. Now we're back to the lifting servers. The lifting servers are basically what happens with the lifting servers, unlike the ACS systems, is every time you crash a system that is connected to a lifting server, it will automatically bring back the system files that you delete in order to crash the system. So if you have not disabled the backup server, you will not be able to, the access control system and the backup server, I think, as well. I'm not 100% sure on the backup server, but I think so. If you have not done that and you have one on the system, it will not kill the lifting server. You have to do some denials instead of what I'm doing right here. Because by the end of this, you're going to find that there is no solution to the way that I'm doing it, because there is either a glitch in the version that I'm using, or it's just the way that it is and I'm doing it completely wrong. One of the two. I'm honestly not sure which it is. But I can tell you that if I had the denial client, this would be a whole lot easier. I would have been able to do this in half the time if I had the denial clients. So, we're back into the file server. And instead of deleting the files, we want to encrypt them. Why? Instead of deleting, as I said, the backup server is the cause. I think, I'm not 100% sure. But if that is the case, what we got to do is encrypt it, because if it's encrypted, then our target server cannot decrypt it once it is deleted from their computer. Because what's going to happen is the lifting server will activate, and after it activates, then it will restore the copies from itself instead of anywhere else, which are encrypted. Therefore, it ain't going to go anywhere at all. So once again, back into the MD2s, connect, inject, and then put the voice prints and the BD pins and the usual stuff. Nothing completely really exciting, to say the least. Thankfully, we have a V1 right here. So this won't be that bad, at least. Just a couple clicks. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I think one of these VSEC rules is you have to do this in a specific amount of clicks. If you do not do it in a certain amount of clicks, it will lock the system. So keep that in mind and make sure that you keep track of how many clicks you're doing. Because if you go over, you're going to be in a world of hurt, and you're going to have to fast forward the time. And after you fast forward the time, after about, well, 30-40 minutes to an hour in the game time, it'll unlock But that's very painful because you got to rehack everything. I don't enjoy when that happens. Alright, now we're into the server. And you gotta delete the logs. As you can tell, I've already been here before, so the logs are pretty short. Alright, now the moment of truth to see if the lifting server actually will not work properly. If it doesn't, then we're scot-free. If not, well, we'll have to keep trying. Let's hope that this works. Because I tell you, if you watch the other videos, I tried so many different little methods and none of them worked. The encryption method is our last hope. Alright, it's copying it. Come on, a little bit further. Alright. Finally, we are past it. The only problem is that ultimately, without the denial clients, there is absolutely no way for me to really get past this, either because of a glitch or whatever. So what we're gonna do is instead use the uplink agent list and go down one name at a time until we actually get it. I'll spare you most of it. In the meantime, enjoy the John Batchelor, which I'm probably talking over. So enjoy. See you guys next week.
Peace Prize in 2005 as president of the IAEA, an organization that, under his command, did almost nothing to stop the Iranian nuclear weapons program. In fact, misled or deliberately skipped over on facts we know to be true of the intention of Iran to go underground to use military facilities. I'm struck by Mahmoud al-Baradei now putting himself forward as an opposition candidate in Cairo. He's an Egyptian, yes, but he's also making it very clear that he speaks for the Muslim Brothers. What does that tell you, Lisa?